In our household, my wife and I maintain a rather unconventional arrangement. You see, she is a dedicated vegetarian, while I, on the other hand, simply cannot resist indulging in meat. Moreover, she abstains from consuming alcohol, whereas I find solace in a refreshing beer after a long day at work. Her concern for the mingling of our dietary preferences extends to our food storage as well. To ease her worries, I decided to allocate our kitchen refrigerator solely to her dietary needs, while purchasing a separate, smaller refrigerator for myself. This additional appliance found its place in the garage. I am aware that this arrangement might strike some as peculiar for a husband and wife having their meals kept strictly separate, but I never dwelled on it much. We seldom dined together. Instead, each of us would eat whenever our individual appetites dictated. For my wife, mealtime was less of a social event and more of a necessary sustenance. Besides, I often found myself relishing late-night feasts, whereas she strictly refrained from eating anything past 7 p.m. with time. I grew accustomed to retrieving my food and beverages from the garage refrigerator without even bothering to switch on the light. The dim illumination from the hallway guided my way to the refrigerator, where I swiftly retrieved what I desired before hastening back into the house. This ritual became a routine, as I seldom utilized the two-car garage for anything else. Our vehicles typically occupied the driveway, while the garage housed a couple of old motorcycles I no longer rode, a rundown Ford Mustang, and some dusty boxes. One night, after my wife had retired to bed quite early, I realized it was already 10 p.m. and I hadn't had a chance to eat yet. This wasn't entirely out of the ordinary since we rarely synchronized our meals, often finding ourselves famished late into the night. As my wife slept soundly, I took advantage of the opportunity to indulge in some scary movies on Netflix. Her taste didn't align with mine in that regard. Feeling peckish, I ventured toward the garage, the memories of my previous unease gradually resurfacing. Oddly enough, despite my frequent exposure to such spine-chilling films, this time I experienced an overwhelming and inexplicable sense of trepidation as I stepped into the garage. It caught me off guard, and I attributed it to the movie's unexpected intensity. Hastily gathering my desired sustenance, I slammed the refrigerator door shut and retreated back into the house. Once settled in my chair, I resumed watching the movie. As the credits rolled on the screen, I found myself not yet ready for slumber. Still relishing the thrill, I decided to continue the cinematic adventure by inserting another disc. However, a flicker of apprehension tainted my excitement as I recalled my previous disconcerting encounter. It struck me as odd since I had grown accustomed to such films and watched them in solitude on numerous occasions. Years had passed since I last succumbed to fear while engrossed in a movie. Determined not to succumb to cowardice, I psyched myself up, affirming that I wouldn't allow fear to overtake me. Leaving the garage door ajar, I cautiously embarked on my journey toward the refrigerator. Yet, as I stood there, holding the door open, an intense unease once again gripped me. I couldn't pinpoint the source of my timidity, but an acute awareness of my surroundings consumed me. Anxious thoughts plagued my mind, convinced that an unwelcome presence lurked within the garage. Perhaps it was the movie's lingering effect. The situation worsened when the connecting door to the house slowly closed behind me, impeding my access to the much-needed beer. Hastening my steps toward the door, I swiftly illuminated the garage with the flip of a switch. The sudden brightness of the rarely used lights assaulted my eyes, intensifying the darkness that enveloped the space. In that moment, a groan resonated through the garage, amplifying my unease. I rubbed my eyes, attempting to dispel the disconcerting sensations. As I peered into the far corners of the garage, I saw nothing out of the ordinary. Initially, I dismissed the eerie occurrences as figments of my imagination, ready to chalk them up to the unsettling movie I had just watched. However, as I turned around, my gaze inadvertently fell upon the back seat of the Mustang. My heart leaped in my chest as I beheld a figure crouched down, desperately trying to conceal their presence. Startled, I instinctively recoiled, startled by the realization that someone had been hiding in my car all along. Without a moment's hesitation, I sprinted toward the door, bursting into the house and slamming it shut, my trembling hands swiftly securing the lock. The intruder, now trapped inside the garage, had no means of escape. I wasted no time in dialing emergency services, urgently reporting the trespasser's presence. The police promptly arrived, apprehending the individual concealed within my garage. They discovered the intruder in possession of a box cutter and a razor blade, evidence of their sinister intentions. Yet, what shook me to my core was the revelation that this man had been living within my garage for the past 2 months, sustaining himself on the provisions from my refrigerator. Every night I had entered the garage, blissfully unaware of his presence. He had been there with me, an unsettling reality that has proven difficult to overcome. The incident served as a chilling reminder of the potential dangers that can silently encroach upon our lives. It reaffirmed the importance of vigilance and the realization that even within the supposed safety of our own homes, an unseen threat may lurk just beyond our awareness. The experience forever altered my perception of security, leaving an indelible mark on my psyche. From that night forward, I vowed to remain vigilant, ensuring that my home would never again harbor such hidden horrors. The separation between my wife's dietary preferences and my own, once merely an idiosyncratic arrangement, took on a deeper significance, a symbolic barrier safeguarding us from the lurking shadows of the unknown. It was a cool evening, the sky painted with hues of orange as the sun began its descent. My friend and I had embarked on a hunting trip, seeking adventure and the thrill of the chase. As darkness started to envelop the land, we decided to call it a day and head back to civilization. We hopped into his parents' new Ford half-ton truck, a vehicle equipped with all sorts of modern gadgets and sensors. The music played softly, providing a melodic backdrop to our journey. Little did we know that the harmonious ambience would soon be shattered by something inexplicable. As we drove along the road, enjoying the familiar tunes, the music began to falter, drowning in a sea of static. Annoyed but curious, I disconnected and reconnected the Bluetooth connection, hoping to restore the harmony. To my relief, the music cleared up, and we continued on our way. Unbeknownst to us, our journey was about to take a peculiar turn. As we approached a familiar spot, a whistle block that had been the subject of much curiosity, I couldn't resist mentioning it to my friend. It was a light-hearted remark, as I had never made sense of the strange occurrences surrounding it. However, my friend, already aware of the peculiarities, responded with a mix of sarcasm and unease. As we ventured further down the road, the music once again succumbed to a bizarre cacophony of alien noises. Frustrated, I disconnected the Bluetooth for the second time. My friend, ever resourceful, suggested using a cord to connect the phone directly. With the cord in place, we hoped to restore normalcy to our musical journey, but fate had other plans for us. As we traveled deeper into the night, surrounded by the darkness of the S-bend and sharp turns, our ears were assaulted by an unearthly symphony of screeches and dissonance. Startled, we turned off the music, our attention drawn to the illuminated figure standing defiantly in the middle of the road. In a split second, we swerved and veered into the ditch, desperately avoiding a collision with the enigmatic figure. Heart pounding, we managed to bring the truck back onto the road, our minds grappling with the sight we had just witnessed. It was as if time stood still, the weight of the encounter pressing upon us. In hushed tones, we shared our observations, piecing together the haunting image that had seared itself into our mind. A skeleton-like figure towering above the truck, adorned in black with bones shining white. Its arms stretched outward, as if taunting us to test our fate. It exuded an eerie presence, absorbing light rather than reflecting it, a sight that defied conventional explanation. Curiosity and concern gripped us, overpowering the fear that threatened to consume our thoughts. Turn around, I urged my friend, hoping to assist whoever may be in need. But reality quickly reminded us of our isolated location, far from any other souls. Reluctantly, my friend admitted his queasiness, feeling an overwhelming urge to flee rather than face the unknown. And so, we pressed on, leaving the enigma behind. As we ventured back into an area with cell service, a message arrived, adding another twist to our already perplexing experience. It was from my friend's mother, berating us for damaging her brand new truck. Confused, we learned that the vehicle's sensors had sent her a warning of a near accident. The message left us dumbfounded, for we had encountered no physical impact, only the chilling encounter with the enigmatic figure on the road. It seemed that the truck's sensors had picked up something extraordinary, something that defied rational explanation. Intrigued and shaken by the events that unfolded, we sought answers. I scoured the depths of the internet, desperately seeking any semblance of what we had witnessed. And there it was, a faint glimmer of similarity amidst the myriad of stories and legends. The Wendigo, a creature of Native American folklore, known for its skeletal appearance and insatiable hunger. Though the traditional depictions of the Wendigo often portrayed it with antlers, our encounter had lacked that particular detail. Nonetheless, the eerie resemblance sent chills down our spines. It seemed we had unknowingly stumbled upon a being from the realm of legends, a presence that defied logic and challenged our understanding of the world. In the years that followed, we delved deeper into the lore of the Wendigo, trying to comprehend the nature of our encounter. Many stories spoke of its insidious influence, driving individuals to madness and cannibalistic tendencies. We couldn't help but wonder if the being we witnessed that fateful night had darker intentions, if its presence signaled something more sinister lurking in the shadows. The memory of that encounter never left us. It lingered in our thoughts, forever etched in our consciousness. It served as a reminder that there are forces at play beyond our comprehension, mysteries that defy our rational mind. And while we may never fully understand the true nature of what we encountered, it left an indelible mark on our lives, a constant reminder that the world is a tapestry of enigmas waiting to be unraveled. So, my friends, heed my cautionary tale and tread carefully when venturing into the unknown. There are realms that lie beyond our senses, lurking just beyond the veil of our understanding. And sometimes, in the stillness of the night, when the boundaries between reality and myth blur, we catch a fleeting glimpse of the extraordinary, an encounter that leaves us questioning our very existence. And as for that whistle block in the woods, it remains a mystery, an enigma that continues to elude explanation. Perhaps it is best left to the realm of urban legends and whispered tales, a testament to the enduring power of the unknown. For in the realm of stories and folklore, there lies a glimmer of truth, a reflection of our fears and desires, a reminder that the world is vast, mysterious, and filled with wonders and terrors we may never fully grasp. As I transport you back in time to the late 70s, when innocence and curiosity fueled the hearts of teenagers and the world was filled with unexplained wonders. It was during this era that my father, a man of unwavering practicality, found himself embroiled in a mystifying encounter that defied all logic. Picture, if you will, a group of carefree souls, my father and his companions, seeking solace on the desolate back roads that stretched out before them. These roads were untouched by the bustle of civilization, a place where they could escape the monotony of everyday life and revel in the freedom of youth. Their destination was a secluded spot where they would gather, accompanied by the melodies of their favorite tunes, to engage in the timeless pursuits of teenage life. On one particular night, fate cast its mysterious hand upon their journey. As they settled in and laughter filled the air, a radiant spectacle unfolded before their very eyes. In a field located approximately 500 yards away, 5 luminous lights materialized, suspended in the night sky. These lights, my father recounted, were so brilliantly bright that they seemed to paint the darkness with their incandescent glow. Yet paradoxically, they did not inflict any discomfort upon the beholder. Time seemed to stand still as the group, bewitched by the celestial display, gazed intently at the enigmatic lights. But, as abruptly as they had appeared, the lights extinguished without a whisper, leaving the onlookers with a sense of awe and wonder. Uncertain of what they had just witnessed, my father and his friends engaged in a spirited discussion, attempting to unravel the mysteries that had unfolded before them. Their contemplation was abruptly interrupted as the lights rekindled their brilliance, illuminating the field once more. This time, however, their attention was drawn to 3 figures standing just 50 yards in front of the radiant orbs. Motionless and enigmatic, these figures stood as sentinels, observing the bewildered onlookers from a distance. And just as swiftly as they had materialized, the lights vanished once more, plunging the surroundings into darkness. Curiosity now tinged with a subtle unease, my father and his companions made the decision to prepare for their departure. The air crackled with a sense of trepidation as they gathered their belongings, a collective understanding dawning upon them. Yet, fate had other plans, for as they readied themselves, the lights burst forth once again, revealing a sight that sent shivers down their spines. The initial 3 figures had advanced closer, traversing the distance of 50 yards, while behind them, a new assembly of 5 additional figures had taken their places, forming an eerie formation reminiscent of bowling pins. The lights flickered and dimmed, casting an ethereal glow upon this enigmatic congregation. Time seemed to warp and distort within those fleeting moments, amplifying the disquietude that now gripped the hearts of my father and his friends. But then, just as the tension reached its zenith, a solitary figure materialized in the midst of the luminescent display, positioned precisely in the center of the light spectrum. It was an image that defied comprehension, a tableau that eluded explanation. The gravity of the situation had finally taken hold of them, and in that moment, they chose flight over fight. Engines roared to life, and the tires screeched as my father and his friends embarked upon a hasty retreat. Fear coursed through their veins, fueling their escape, and not a single soul dared to cast a backward glance. The events that had transpired remained shrouded in silence, unspoken among the tight-knit group of friends. The memories of that fateful night became like fragments of a forgotten dream, tucked away in the recesses of their mind. Yet, the impact of the encounter lingered, leaving an indelible mark on their souls. Years passed, and life carried on its relentless march. The friends pursued their individual path, carving out destinies shaped by the trials and triumphs that awaited them. But deep within their hearts, the unspoken bond forged amidst the inexplicable events of that night remained steadfast. It was on a balmy summer evening, decades later, that destiny once again beckoned my father towards the mystic realm that had captivated his youth. Sitting on the porch, reminiscing about days long gone, a familiar presence emerged from the shadows, enveloping him in a cloak of nostalgia. It was his old friend, the one who had stood beside him on that fateful night. Their eyes meeting in recognition and understanding. The passing years had etched wisdom upon their faces, but their spirits remained forever connected by the secrets they held. As they exchanged tales of their journeys through life, an unspoken agreement hung in the air, a shared belief in the extraordinary, an unyielding fascination with the inexplicable. With a gentle sigh, my father's friend finally broke the silence, his voice tinged with a mixture of longing and curiosity. "Do you ever wonder," he began, "what those lights were, who those figures were, and why they chose to reveal themselves to us?" My father, contemplating the same questions over the years, allowed a knowing smile to grace his lips. "Perhaps," he mused, "some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved, for it is in the wonder and uncertainty that our spirits are awakened." And so they sat together, gazing at the stars that dotted the night sky, their minds drifting to the inexplicable events of their youth. In that shared moment of contemplation, they found solace, for in the enigma of that night, they discovered a deeper connection, a reminder that the world we inhabit is vast and teeming with hidden wonders. As the stars twinkled above, casting their ancient light upon the world below, my father and his friend realized that life's greatest mysteries often reside in the spaces between what is known and what is yet to be discovered. And though the answers may elude them, the journey itself, the unrelenting pursuit of truth and the insatiable thirst for wonder, would forever guide them. As we journey back to that fateful summer evening in South London, the incident in the park left an indelible mark on our young minds, casting a shadow of unease over the safety of our community. We couldn't shake the lingering questions that haunted us, questions that would resurface years later. In the days following the disturbing encounter, whispers spread through the hallways of our high school. Some claimed to have seen the man in the woods, while others dismissed it as a mere fabrication. The story took on a life of its own, growing more embellished with each retelling. We couldn't help but wonder if the naked man had been a one-time occurrence or if he lurked in the shadows, waiting for another opportunity to prey on unsuspecting victims. As time passed, the incident faded from the forefront of our thoughts. Life moved on, filled with the typical challenges and joys of adolescence. But the memory lingered, buried beneath layers of new experiences and the distractions of adulthood. It was only years later, during a chance reunion of old friends, that the incident resurfaced in our conversations. Gathered around a table in a cozy cafe, nostalgia swept over us as we recounted our shared memories. It was then that one of us mentioned the park incident, prompting a flood of emotions and unanswered questions. We realized that each of us had carried a piece of that unsettling encounter with us throughout the years. Curiosity and concern drove us to revisit the past, to seek closure and perhaps uncover any possible connections to subsequent events. The mention of another incident piqued our interest, igniting a renewed sense of urgency to uncover the truth. We set out on a journey of discovery, determined to shed light on the mysteries that had haunted us for 2 decades. Our investigation took us through a maze of interviews, online searches, and encounters with individuals who had lived in the area during that time. The stories we uncovered were both chilling and heartbreaking. It became apparent that our encounter in the park was not an isolated incident. We discovered accounts of similar incidents, women and girls being accosted by a naked man in the nearby woods. The reports dated back several years before our own encounter, suggesting a pattern of disturbing behavior that had gone unchecked for far too long. The victims' stories were hushed whispers, silenced by fear and shame, buried beneath the weight of a society that often turned a blind eye to such atrocities. Motivated by a sense of justice, we reached out to the authorities, sharing our findings and urging them to take action. The case was reopened, and an investigation was launched to apprehend the perpetrator who had haunted our memories for so long. As the investigation unfolded, we became immersed in a world of legal proceedings, testimonies, and painstaking evidence collection. Our determination to seek justice for the victims became an unyielding force, fueled by the belief that our actions could prevent future harm. Months turned into years as the legal process unfolded. The perpetrator was identified, arrested, and faced the consequences of his actions. The trial brought closure to the victims, a glimmer of solace in their healing process. Our commitment to their cause had not been in vain. Reflecting on that pivotal chapter of our lives, I realized the power of unity, the strength in seeking truth, and the responsibility we bear to protect one another. The incident in the park had sparked a journey that transcended our own lives, connecting us to a broader purpose. Today, we stand as advocates, raising our voices against the injustices that linger in the shadows. We share our story not only to shed light on a dark chapter of our past, but to inspire others to stand up, to break the silence, and finish the story, ChatGPT, to create a safer world for all. The incident in the park became a catalyst for change, igniting a fire within us to champion the rights of victims and to fight against the culture of silence that had allowed such atrocities to persist. In the years that followed, we dedicated ourselves to advocacy and support for survivors of similar crimes. We collaborated with local organizations, participated in awareness campaigns, and lobbied for policy reforms to strengthen protections for vulnerable individuals. Our efforts didn't go unnoticed. The community rallied behind our cause, joining forces to create a network of support and empowerment. Together, we built safe spaces, organized self-defense workshops, and educated others about the importance of reporting and standing up against any form of abuse. But our mission didn't stop there. We recognized the need for comprehensive sex education in schools, the importance of teaching consent, and fostering a culture of respect and empathy.